days of research into trying to find the best starter formation in FIFA 22, multiple failures, trials, tribulations, getting his ass handed to him constantly, only getting 7.5 hours of sleep instead of the recommended 8, DMG has now found the best starter formation in FIFA 22.
It's the 4-4-2. So. What is up, guys? It is DMG here, and today we're going to be talking about a formation and tactics video, at least to kind of start out your squad. Now, unfortunately, it is over the 4-4-2, and I say unfortunately just because every year I kind of hope it's something like really random and stupid. You know, like every year I really hope it's like the 4-1-3-2, right? Something just stupid, but alas, again, it is not the 4-1-3-2. It is going to be over the 4-4-2. Like we do with all instructions and tactics videos, we will be talking about the tactics and instructions. Obviously, crazy. But along with that, we'll also be talking about the types of players that you need in this formation, because it is going to obviously give you a better chance to succeed and do well with this formation if you buy the specific players suited for these roles. Now, first things first, we will be talking about the defense, and with the defense being pretty overpowered this year, with everyone kind of sitting back, right? Everyone knows that everyone's just dropping back a lot. You don't need to be on drop back or on zero depth for your center backs to be playing right in front of your goalies. And so because of the defense just kind of being overpowered, and also because I don't entirely know what the defense is doing because it's brand new and I'm kind of scared about it, but we move on. The attack, however, is going to be something that we actually do change for the most part. So build-up play is going to be long balls, and chance creation, which is new this year, is going to be on forward runs. Now, the reason why we do this is because the attacking AI, similar to FIFA 21 and just previous years in FIFA in general, is that the attacking AI is very stagnant. Now, what's different about this year is that I feel as though the quality of the runs is actually a little bit better. However, again, the just abundance of runs is still really bad. So what we want to do is to help trigger those runs by, you know, the build-up play being on long ball, chance creation being on forward runs, so then they actually start moving, because like I said, you just need to get them to kind of actually move a little bit, because again, the quality of the runs is actually at least a little bit better. Now, this obviously does have a couple of drawbacks, because one, it could leave you susceptible to counterattacks, but the other thing is because with forward runs and long ball, all of your players are going to be running forward pretty often, and that means if you have the ball in your own half, you're trying to do a build-up, that means that players may not be in the right spot, because again, they're just going to be taking off. So there will be times where you don't really have an easy pass to play, and you might, if you're under pressure, just might have to clear it. So keep that in mind. For the width, we're just going to leave it at 50, just because the 4-4-2 is pretty good with having, you know, width, obviously with left and right mids, but they also have players in the middle. I just want to leave it at that, and we don't really do anything else. And then finally, we have players in the box. Now, typically in previous FIFAs, I had this at 6, 7, maybe even 8 if I was feeling a little devious myself, but now we have it on 4, and that's because, again, of the forward runs and the long ball. Now, we'll talk about the instructions later on, but just as kind of an example, I have both of my center mids on stay back while attacking, and they still actually get forward decently well, just because of, again, the forward runs and long ball. And so if the players in the box tactic was, say, 6, 7, or 8, if it was pretty high, that means those center mids could actually be getting into the box and getting too far forward, which again leaves you susceptible to a counterattack, but also that means your buildup is going to be just non-existent, right? We don't want our center mids in the box. For the other two, corners and free kicks, you can do whatever you want. Do what makes you happy. Moving on, we're going to do the instructions next, and again, we'll just jump right in. We're going to have the two center backs on step up instead of stick to position. This is kind of new, at least I think it is, to this year, and the reason why we have them on step up is for two reasons. One, there's not a defensive mid. There's no defensive-minded player linking the midfield and the defense, and there's no one there kind of filling in any gaps for, you know, maybe an opposition attacking mid, or maybe a striker on false 9. So that means that we want our center backs to kind of push up and apply a little bit of pressure. The other thing is that we also have our left and right backs on stay back while attacking. So that means that they're going to be there, specifically the left and right backs are going to be there for additional defensive support if our center backs happen to get beat. If our left and right backs were not on stay back while attacking, or if we did have some defensive mids, then we would not put our center backs on step up. Moving on to our center mids, like I mentioned before, we have them both on stay back while attacking and cover center. And the reason why we do this is, like I mentioned, we already have long ball and forward runs. So they actually get forward decently well. And along with that, they both also have high work rates. And we'll talk about the types of players you want, but the high work rates really help in this case because they get forward, even though they're on stay back while attacking because of, again, certain tactics, and most likely because of their high attacking work rates. But they also stay back because, one, their high defensive work rates, and two, because of the stay back while attacking instruction. Essentially, they're just going to be playing as box-to-box center mids that can do essentially everything that you want them to. Then for the left and right mids, we have them both on stay wide and get in behind. Now, we have them on stay wide because of a specific thing that EA actually introduced for this year alone. The defensive positioning has been changed this year because now the defense kind of moves as one unit, as one team. So let's say the ball kind of gets shifted from one side to the other. You'll see the defense collectively shift as a unit. This means that if you have someone out wide like Porto or Castillo, when the left and right back of your opposition team tends to shift from one way to the other, that could leave some space for a late run from your left or right mid, which is also why we have them on get in behind. And so when you are quickly shifting from one way or another, that means that could leave some space for your left and right mids. So again, look for a cross, look for something like that to the back post and see if you do have a left or right mid making a late run in there. In fact, it probably makes sense to do get into the box for crosses. That's probably something we should do for that, huh? Lastly, we have our two strikers and we have them on stay central and get in behind. Now, most of the time, I do like someone linking the midfield and the two strikers, right? I really enjoy a center attacking mid. However, this year, like I said, with the tactics that we have with long ball and forward runs, with both of our center mids kind of making some runs into the box, or at least making some runs forward, we don't really need a center mid or a striker to kind of play that center attacking mid role, which is nice because that means we do have two strikers that are just going to be playing strikers, right? We're going to allow them to actually play that role. And finally, we are now going to be talking about the types of players that you need in this team. Now, center backs, goalie, it's just whoever you want. Whoever's good for you, that's who you're going to choose. However, for the rest of the team, we actually do have a little bit more specific instructions, at least in terms of who you need to buy. So right back and left back, because they're on stay back while attacking, you do want them to be a little bit more defensively able. So in this case, we do have Kappa, who has high defensive work rates, good physical, good pace, decent enough defending. And then it's supposed to be Acuna. I'm doing instructions right now. Shut up. So like I said, it is normally Acuna who does have good physical. They also have high defensive work rates, good defending ability, and with the shadow goes to at least a high 80s in pace. So again, in that case, that's very good to have. For the two center mids I mentioned, you do want them to be box to box, so kind of good at everything, good at going forward, good at going back, or at the very least capable, right? So Pedri, for example, is obviously a little bit better at attacking than defending, but he does have decent enough defending, I think mid 60s, and he does also have high defensive work rates. So that's obviously going to be good enough in this case. And along with that, we also have Uribe, who is pretty much good at everything. He can go forward, he can go back, but he's going to be pretty capable at defending and picking up the slack for Pedri. For the outside mids, this is one where you can kind of go for your own player, because as long as they have good pace, good stamina, good work rates, that's kind of all you need. So Porto in this case is very good, but even someone like Castillo, who is someone who can kind of just attack and someone who's fast, that's good enough for me. So in this case, again, the outside mids are probably the least important position on the field. And then finally, for the strikers, yes, you obviously want them to have good pace, good dribbling, good shooting. They are that type of kind of advanced forward where they're going to try to, believe it or not, get in behind, like our instruction says. However, one thing I did notice is that it's also pretty important for them to be at least somewhat capable at passing, right? So none of this, 50 or 60 passing, right? High 60s at the very least for passing is probably the way to go. And again, that's because of the forward runs and the long ball tactic that we have, right? We mentioned that our center mids can push up even though they are on stay back while attacking. Our left and right mids could be making late runs into the box. There's also another strike partner for, the other striker, right? So there's going to be a good amount of options for the striker to kind of pass. And, if you see that run, you're going to want your player who is on the ball to make that pass. And so again, you do want your strikers to be at least good at passing, at least somewhat capable. Again, nothing like prime Pirlo or prime Xavi by any means, but it should be better than, say, 50. So that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys learned from it, and let me know how it goes. Let me know if you guys would change anything, or if you want me to do any other formation and tactics videos. Let me know, and I could try to get that done for you guys. But like I said, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been DMG. Peace.